weekly, but back in the day it was just the week before Yom Kippur and the week before Passover. But tonight I'm going to flip the script. I'm not going to give a long, big devar. If you wanted to know the ins and outs of koshering your home or how to prepare for the Passover Seder, you probably would have done that by now. And you might have even sought the guidance of a different rabbi other than me. But we can do an inner preparation, a more experiential exploration of what bidikat chametz can mean. Bidikat, what do you, first, even before we go searching for chametz, we need to do a bior chametz. What is chametz? Right? Chametz are often, it's that puffed up, stale stuff that is, it just feels really good to get rid of. Even if it's hard to get started to do a spring clean, it often feels really liberating in and of itself. The magic of tidying up, right? But chametz is not just the crumbs that may find their way, to the bottom of your toaster or even behind your utensil drawer or even in the seams of your books. God bless those rabbis who go through every book that they might have possibly eaten a sandwich over the course of the year, turning all the pages to get every last crumb. That is chametz, but it's also related to things that become chamutz, sour, overly fermented or rotten, not only in the food world, but in our own awareness. Like the leavening that puffs up the bread, the chametz could be pride, or some outmoded way that no longer serves us. But again, before we even get to that search, the bior chametz is clarifying what is chametz for ourselves. What can serve us by letting go of it? And so the classic utensils for this search are a candle, a feather, and a spoon. A candle, because the search is done at night, and in particularly those places that are hard to see, hard to find, that might be lost in the overwhelming glow of day, night. There's a certain subtle seeing that can only happen at night. And the candle, of course, also represents our awareness, the light of awareness, the light of our soul. I am the light of my soul. The light of I am that allows us to see, so allows us to be aware of anything at all, the light of consciousness. And the feather is this gentle searching gift. To discover a feather is like to receive a blessing. I made it some sort of superstition for myself growing up in New York City, where the bulk of the wildlife were rats, cockroaches, and pigeons, that if I saw a white pigeon, it was a good sign. All the more so if I found a white feather. I just felt like I was on the right path, somehow being guided. So imagine finding a feather. It could be a pin feather or one of those incredibly strong and rugged goose or turkey feathers we may find here in this neck of our woods. Whatever the feather might be, it is this strong yet elegantly engineered tool to bring breath and light under wing, to sweep away. So we'll need that feather. We have that candle, and that third instrument is the spoon. Now, a wooden spoon was the instrument of choice because once we collected all of this chametz, the way it should be removed is by burning, right? So you can throw the spoon that you used for collecting right in the fire with all of these crumbs, so to speak. But remember earlier how we were talking about the poteach et yadecha masbi lechol chayretzon. We opened our hands to receive, to let go, to feel that exquisite sensitivity. We have so much awareness just even on our palms. A spoon is a kapit, a kaf, a cup. So with the feather and the spoon and by the light of awareness, we are meant to find all of those corners, to do an inner purification, and then throw it in the holy fire. This Parshat Tzav, the week's Torah portion, speaks of the line, Eish tamid tukad al mizbeach lo tichbeh. An eternal flame should be on the altar. It should never go out. And think about this for a moment, not just symbolically as we have it in the architecture of our modern day synagogues with the Ner Tamid, the eternal flame, some electric light, maybe some modern, hip, progressive synagogues have it attached to a solar power because it's connected with really what is eternal if it's not sustainable. But think for a moment how for literally centuries we had a central hearth burning night and day. Priesthood, a kihuna, maybe some secret kohanot, keeping a flame alive, keeping a central altar alive with song, with ritual, with reverence. This is also connected with that light of consciousness, the light of that candle. And there's real sadness, there's real loss, there's real galut, there's real exile from the fact that we don't have that. And someone recently just pitched the idea, which I'm fascinated with, and I'm still chewing over, of what it would be like to heal some of the trauma going all the way back to the Babylonian exile, or even the traumas further back than that, the loss. I mean, what would it feel like to know that a flame that was out 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, that flame was no longer being tended? There's a real mourning that has to happen with that. And there's the beautiful Hasidic story. This is a bit of a tangent, but I love this story. I can't not tell it now. How the holy Baal Shem Tov would go into the forest and find a particular sacred spot and light a particular sacred fire and sing a particular sacred song. And there he would pray for all the people of Israel and all the people of the world. And because of the confluence of those kind of holy rituals, the prayer was heard and was received in heaven. It was good for the Jews and for the world. In the next generation, the Maggid of Mezerich did not quite know the same sacred spot of the Baal Shem Tov, but still had the teaching, could still build the fire and still knew the song. And there, over that holy fire and that holy song, a prayer was said, and it was heard in heaven, and it was good for the Jews, and it was good for the world. In the subsequent generation, even the sacred skill of building the fire was lost, but they retained the melody. And through singing the melody and entering the various palaces of heaven, a prayer was said, and it was good for the Jews, and it was good for the world. And sadly, in our day, we've even lost the song. We no longer know the place in the forest. We no longer know how to build the sacred fire. We've forgotten even that melody, but thank God we have this story. So Haggadah, Pesach, is all about sacred stories. Pesach means the story, the mouth that speaks the sacred story. So sometimes as we're writing down the details, or at least working in the quadrant of the Eisenhower matrix that says this is important and urgent, we take care of those segments of the story and we forget what is important but not urgent, or even the things that seemingly creep into the unimportant and non-urgent quadrant. They're still parts of our lives. And here's where I'm going to invite you to take your candle, your feather, and your spoon. So seated however you are, resting however you are, just a little bit more comfortably. It's remarkable that we can usually make some sort of adjustment to bring more ease into the body. And if it feels right, to allow the kapit, the cup, the kaf, the palm of the hand to rest open. Or perhaps if you need a little more grounding, one hand palm down and one hand palm up. And just allowing a gentle breath. Sometimes just by bringing attention to the breath, we become convinced we need to change it or alter it. Just feathering the breath. Even as I do that, I need to tickle, it tickles my nose, but allowing just gentle wing beats of breath, brushing the back of the spine, all of the faces of the lungs, these inner wings, to the belly, gentle breathing. and taking the candle of awareness, the light of awareness, to wherever you're interested in going into this inner house. May the gentle, dear, precious one build a place inside of us, and looking around at what wants some light in the shadow. Each year this is different. Each day this is different. We come around to spring cleaning, and even if it's the daily dust that settles, what is your bior chametz? What is your clarification of the things? And just as they come, maybe it wasn't a crumb back there behind the couch, but some sort of precious jewel that you don't want to throw away, but had been looking for. Put that in the heart of awareness and keep going and see what else needs to be dusted, released, scooped up. And this is obviously a very deep practice. We could do this all evening. But for now, knowing this practice, knowing these tools, knowing you have these tools, scoop up whatever needs to be put in that wooden spoon. And remember the sacred fire, which has been tended by story and song and sacred place throughout millennia, not just by the Jewish people, of course, but by peoples who gather around in community and song and story and circle and fire for time immemorial. And if you're ready, when you're ready to let go of that chametz, you put it into the fire. And listen to it crackle, see it spark and smoke. El b'nei b'nei vetcha bekarov. So it may not be all gone. There may still be work to do. So I'll tell you a little tip and a little secret that we start tomorrow's Seder with not bior chametz, not clarifying what the chametz is, not bidikat chametz, the searching for it, but bitul chametz, the nullification. The tradition, the rabbis, the sages were so sweet to us. They knew that if we just said, we've tried, we've done our best, we've looked, we've found, we know there's probably still more. Consider that bitul, consider that nullified, consider that like dust and ashes. Consider what I didn't see and what I don't yet know as still out of my ability to do anything about it, and may it be hefker, may it be ownerless. May I be released from it so I can be in that holy, ownerless space, the place of hefker, of new revelation, of new light. The matzah we eat is a matzah of consciousness, coming into expanded consciousness. So may we be all blessed to eat that in a state of pure awareness, of loving kindness, of connection and freedom. For ourselves, for each other, for all Yisrael, and for all the world, for all the worlds, for all life. And let us say,